It's here! Officially, the day you've all been waiting for. Whoop whoop! Davinci Resolve 19 has officially launched. It's available to download and install right now. And the best news of all, that means you no longer need to listen to me saying beta. If you want to download it, simply head over to the Davinci Resolve website and you can download both the free and the studio versions from there. Or, of course, open up your own installation of Davinci Resolve. The pop-up should appear. If it doesn't, simply click on Davinci Resolve top left-hand corner, click check for updates, and then you can download it from there. Oh, and this video is sponsored by Audiio. And yes, rejoice, iPad users, because that also means that Davinci Resolve 19 is now available for iPad. It's available within the standard app store, so you can go and download it or update your own version from there. So everyone is now on Davinci Resolve 19. Hey, good news indeed. And Davinci Resolve 19 is massive. It's massive. There's loads of stuff in Davinci Resolve. There's so much new stuff. When I made my original video about the public beta, that video was nearly 30 minutes long, and they've added a ton of additional stuff on top of that since then. So it is a massive update. Over the next days, weeks, months, or whatever, I'll do some more in-depth guides on how to fully make use of these awesome new features. So if you're not subscribed already, click that little button for me. That'd be handy. Thanks. Oh, and anything that's studio only will be labeled with this little logo up here. But Blackmagic have also released a new document, which I've linked down below for you. This details what's included in the studio version, the free version, and the iPad versions, both those that are M chips and the older ones as well. So you can skim through that if you like. However, if you've been thinking about buying Davinci Resolve Studio but holding off, now's a pretty good time, honestly, because Studio has more in it than ever. If you are going to stay on the free version, I've got some really good news for you as well, especially if you're on the Windows version, because things just got a whole lot faster for you. But I'll come back to that a little bit later. So first up, let's kick things off talking about the iPad version real quick, because as mentioned, Davinci Resolve 19 is now available for iPad. And pretty much everything I talk about for the rest of this video that refers to either the edit page and the cut page, because they're kind of interlinked, and the color page, that's also now available on the iPad version as well. But there are a couple of cut page things that are worth mentioning specifically because they really do affect you iPad users. First up, the effects library is now properly organized and categorized. Way! So it's no longer just a mess of all the effects. If you downloaded any custom effects from like me or Motion VFX or whoever, the custom folders never used to work. Now they do. So my custom presets like Magic Animate or Magic Zoom are all now properly organized, which makes using them way easier. And something else which makes using presets way easier, you now have OpenFX and Fusion overlays available to you on the preview screen, on the cut page, and on the iPad version. So underneath the little preview window, there's now an option to toggle on the OpenFX and Fusion overlays, which means you get the on-screen controls. This is really useful for using my Magic Zoom tool, for example, because you just put the little X where you want to zoom in and job done. And lastly, if you picked up one of their nice, shiny new micro color panels, it will now finally work with the iPad. Previously, you had to wait for this 19 version because it didn't work properly with 18.6. Now 19 is live. They will talk to each other properly, so you can get stuck in using your new micro color panel. I actually made a whole video talking about the micro color panel, which I've linked down below if you fancy checking that out. Sticking with color for a few moments, probably one of my new favorite effects they've added in Davinci Resolve 19 is the new Film Look Creator. It is studio only, so sorry freebies, but it's such a cool new tool, I kind of have to talk about it. It basically allows you to create film looks in a jiffy. There's a few presets built in, and very recently they also added a few different film stocks as well. And then there's tons of controls for things like halation, grain, bleach bypass, split tones, and everything in between. You can use it directly on the cut page, the edit page, or the color page. Obviously, that's kind of cool for colorists who want access to some neat tools all in one place, but it's super useful for color newbies like me who need a bit of a helping hand to create a nice look. I've been using it tons, I really like it. It's definitely worth checking out. Again, I made a whole video talking about the Film Look creator, which again is linked down below if you fancy a look. Then there's a smorgasbord, a bunch, barrel, whatever. There's a bunch of new audio features which again are super cool, simple to use and really clever. The first one, which is available in the free version, is called the Dialogue Leveler. And it does exactly what it says on the tin. It can help you level out the dialogue, kind of the volumes, balance all the levels so everything sounds kind of the same, either within one particular clip or even across an entire track. It's actually what I use for all of my videos. Sometimes I get a bit closer to the mic, or I'm a bit further away, or I mumble or whatever, and this just helps to balance out all of the volume. It's super quick to enable. You've got a few options to choose from. You can tick some boxes and then you just forget about it and leave it to do its thing. It's really neat and it saves me tons and tons of time. As mentioned, it's in the free version, so definitely check that one out. Another which is also available within the free version is the Ducker. So this automatically lowers the volume of your music based on one of your other tracks. So for example, it will lower your music when you're talking and bring it back up when you're not talking, which means if you want to use a music track for the background, you can just kind of slap it on there, enable the Ducker, and it will figure the rest out for you. Now this one is timeline track level. So you click on the track on your timeline, open the inspector, go to audio like I have here on my music track, enable the Ducker, choose the track with your dialogue on it, and then configure it as required. Now you really don't need to spend much time configuring it. Don't go mad with it. Don't slap it up to 18. You can, but then it will be really obvious. You want it nice and subtle, and it just dips the audio enough, dips your music enough so that your dialogue is nice and clear. It works really well. It's free. Give it a go. Why not? What up folks, Alex here, and there's a new version of the Blackmagic camera app for Android. Now the next two are studio only because they use some of the fancy AI goodness. The first one is the Dialogue Separator. Once again, this is track level only, and this allows you to separate your dialogue from the background, and it's basically magic. Click on your track, jump into the inspector, it's in there. You can adjust the track levels, the background, and the ambience volumes using these sliders. And then you can even mute the voices entirely, just giving you the background noises. Or you can use it to bring down the background noises or mute them entirely. Tick some boxes, move some sliders. It's all super clever. It works really well. It's fast. It doesn't slow things down all that much. And it gives you loads of scope to get rid of annoying noises in your videos. It's cool. Talking of cool and super clever, there's also the Music Remixer. This one allows you to control the levels of the different elements within a music clip. And once again, it is magic. It's black magic, isn't it? You can either do this on the clip directly or over an entire track. You can boost the vocals and bring down the drums or switch that around. You can just pick and choose whichever you want to do. You can even mute the different elements. So if you've got a track and you want the vocals getting rid of and you haven't got access to the stems, you can just mute the vocals and job done. Honestly, it's crazy and it works really, really well. Now, just as an additional note, the previous voice isolation tool, which I think they added back in 18.5, is better now as well. Obviously, you've also got this dialogue separator, which does more. The voice isolation tool is kind of like a one-click solution for removing your background noise. Now it's just quicker and more responsive, and it doesn't slow things down quite as much. So it's worth revisiting that one as well. Now, sticking with audio just for one moment, I need to take a moment to thank this video's sponsor, Audiio. Audiio is a music subscription service that contains all of the music and sound effects you could ever need. And it's real music from real artists that doesn't feel or sound like generic stock music. There's pop, rock, hip-hop, country, and there's even some cinematic bangers. And now they even have stems, so you can pick to download the full mix or just the individual elements that you need, giving you even more options to find just the right music for any project. And the Audio Pro license really does cover you for literally any project. Film, TV, social media, YouTube of course, video games, podcasts, and even audiobooks. And best of all, the Audiio Pro license is available for just $59 for your first year using the code ALEX70, or you can get a music-only license for just a one-off payment of $199 with the code ALEX199. That's music for life. Right, let's crack on talking about Davinci Resolve 19. What's new on the edit page? Well, they've added a bunch of nice little changes to make our lives easier. Now, everything here is available in the free version. There's nothing kind of major, they're all small things, but they're super useful, so they're worth mentioning. The first one, missing text plus fonts are indicated as a viewer overlay. So if you've ever imported someone else's preset, for example, and it just gives you a black screen if the font was missing. That's caused loads of confusion for people in the past, so they fixed that. What happens now is you get a little pop-up in the bottom corner that just says the font is missing, so this won't work. So then you can just go ahead and update your font. Much better, much clearer, nice little addition. They've also added the ability to edit text plus titles in the viewer. So grab the simple text plus title or any of the Fusion titles, drop it on your timeline, open the Fusion overlay, and then you can double click on the title on the previous screen, highlight different things, change the text, change the size, do all sorts of stuff directly within the preview, within the viewer, which again just makes life a little bit easier. There's now an option to search across all effect library folders, and the favorites are now organized and categorized as well, which again is a big time saver. I've done it a bunch of times. You've gone to search for like the film look creator, for example, but you're in effects rather than open effects, so you can't find it, so then you need to change a folder, blah, 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 blah. Now it's much easier because you can search across all the folders. And your favorites now have the toolbox and the titles and the generators and stuff as well, which just makes keeping organized that little bit easier. There's an option to select checkerboards or gray backgrounds within the viewer when you're using alpha. So previously, transparent, or if there was nothing there within the preview window, it would just show as black, which is fine, but sometimes it's not quite clear what's like a black background, for example, and what is just nothing, what's alpha. Now you can change that. You can change it to be gray, which I don't really like because then you have the same issues as using the black one. But you now have the checkerboard, which I really like because this is consistent with what you get in Fusion as well. So it just makes the whole thing make a little bit more sense. If you see the checkerboard, there's nothing there, you know that's an alpha. Done. There's also a new Resync media option for folders and bins, which is pretty neat. This was a pretty last minute addition. It came in the last beta 19 version 6, I think it was. Now it's not fully there yet, as it doesn't include all media, like pictures and images don't work, but video does. But basically you can refresh a bin in Resolve and it'll pick up new videos that have been added to that folder within the operating system. This is something that people have been asking for since the dawn of time, so it's quite cool to see it finally being implemented. Now there's also some new Stinger transitions. Stinger transitions are popular, most people use them on Twitch and that sort of thing, but they're also used in broadcasts and live productions and that sort of thing. There's now a bunch that are built in directly on the edit page. In the effects library, under generators, you'll see Stinger transitions. You just drop them on your timeline, open the inspector, customize them as you like, and then job done. And some of them are actually really quite nice. I made a video talking about these as well, and I showed you how to export them with the alpha. So if you want to import them into OBS, for example, you can. Again, link below. Lots of links down below, but hopefully it's nice and clear so you can find the one you want. They've also, very sneakily, added some new transitions and titles as well. Now, they never mentioned this, it wasn't in any of the notes, but I do like to have a little look at the titles and transitions to see if there's any new, and there are definitely some new ones. So yeah, that's pretty cool. For those that are on the studio version of Davinci Resolve, there's been some updates to the audio transcription feature as well. So for those that don't know, this will essentially skim through all of your video and turn it into text, so then you can do some text-based editing. It's really, really clever. Now you can transcribe an entire timeline, and then you can quickly switch between editing the clip via text and the timeline via text as well, just giving you some more text-based editing goodness. And there's also speaker recognition. So if you've got multiple speakers within your clips, it'll automatically pick it up. You can then name them accordingly, which just makes editing conversations and interviews and all that other stuff way easier. Switching over now to the color page, there's now a color slice grading palette. Now, being honest, I haven't spent much time with it, so I don't fully understand the benefits. So we're going to skip this one. But friend of the channel and color Davinci Resolve wizard man, Darren Mustin, he's done a video on it when they released the beta. So I've linked that down below as well. So you can check that out if you're interested in more information about the color slicer tool. Also on the color page, there's a new background defocus tool. Now, once again, this is studio only, I believe. It's actually missing from that document I mentioned. But this one, it's a pretty neat little feature. You need to use a mask with it, so you can either mask out your subjects manually, or you can use something like a magic mask as well. Then you apply the defocus background, and it will defocus the background, but much more realistically than using something like one of the standard blurs, for example. If you combine it with something like the depth map, which obviously maps out the depth of the image, and then use this background blur, you can get a really nice, progressive, realistic looking shallow depth of field kind of effect, which will change as subjects move forward and backwards within the frame. So neat addition, well worth checking out if you're into that sort of thing. Hey, it's Future Alex here. I've double checked, the defocus background effect is available within the free version, but as mentioned, it does work best when combined with either the magic masks or the depth map tools, which are of course only available within the studio version. So, you know, swings and roundabouts. Anyway, back to the video. Talking of masks of the magical variety, magic masks, for a second, they've got up to 3 times faster performance in Fusion, which is a big bonus. It was great having them in Fusion previously, but they were a little bit chuggy. Now they're a lot faster, so they're much easier to use. Boom. Also, sticking in Fusion, the Fusion viewers are now color managed. Hey, this is a big one. So if you're using a color managed timeline, like you've imported some Vlog or you've got Blackmagic Raw and you've converted it using the color management, you'll now see that color managed footage in Fusion. So you're not just staring at log footage, trying to figure out how this might look when it's been color managed. You've now got color and stuff. Speed warps are also faster now as well. So speed warps are a sweet studio only feature that allows you to slow down kind of regular frame rate footage, 24, 25, 30, that sort of thing, into slow motion. It basically uses AI to fill in the gaps for you. It is very GPU intensive though, so it has historically caused lots of people's computers to grind to a halt. But now there's a faster option, so you can do some slow-mo without losing quite as many frames. Super scaling is another one. Again, this uses AI to allow you to kind of blow up low resolution footage, and it's faster across the board. There's 3.5 times faster performance with AMD GPUs, and then there's new 2x and 4x Nvidia RTX super scaling options from the drop-down on the edit page. Now this actually uses Nvidia's own RTX super resolution AI upscaling to upscale your videos. So now you've got even more options to make your low resolution footage look like nice, shiny 4K. But of course you do need an Nvidia RTX GPU to make use of those ones. Also for those that have got nice fancy Nvidia RTX GPUs, there's a new SDR to HDR converter effect thingy. Again, I've not had too much time to play with this. It will essentially convert your SDR footage to HDR using the built-in Nvidia RTX stuff. Go give it a go and let me know if it's any good, because I've not really played with it yet, but I will do at some point. There's a new type of tracking which is available kind of all across Davinci Resolve, and it's called Intellitracker. It's like normal tracking, but more intelligent. It basically uses AI to do your tracking, which should mean you get better, more reliable tracks, which can continue to track even if your subject goes behind other objects. It's available on the color page and in Fusion as well. I actually use the Intellitracker for my Magic Zoom Pro tool for those that are on Studio, and it's been working really quite well. You can also use this on the Fairlight page to do some cool stereo audio panning. Now, here's the example I made of this last time, and it still makes me laugh because I'm a child. I'm a seagull, baby! And to wrap this whole thing up, the thing I mentioned at the beginning, on the free version, there's now up to 3 times faster H.264 and H.265 decoding on non-studio versions of Davinci Resolve on Windows. Now that's a really long-winded way of saying hardware accelerated decoding is now available on the free version of Davinci Resolve in Windows. So if you're using a Windows PC, especially one with a decent GPU, you'll see much smoother and more responsive playback on the timeline. People have wanted that for a very long time as well, so now it's there. Davinci Resolve 19 means hardware accelerated decoding for everyone. Well, hey, and that's not even all of it, to be honest. There's a big long list, but they're kind of the main things. That's the general gist. If I missed anything, make sure to let me know down in the comments below, and also let me know what you're most excited about. Take it easy, folks. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time for some more Davinci Resolve 19 goodness. See ya.